So good evening, Divi Toronto. Welcome everyone for our introduction to using advanced custom fields with Divi. And just a quick note, this will be more of a very beginner level understanding how to use advanced custom fields with the Divi theme. So I know last month we had Nelson Miller with us, and he went into a deep dive of very complex using custom fields and working with dynamic content. So today we're going to break it down just a little bit onto more of the beginner level. So I'm going to go ahead and we can go around the room real quick and just let me know where you're visiting us from and how long you've been using Divi. If you'd like to unmute, we'll go ahead and start with Julius.
If that's Julius, hello, it's me. If some of you might know me, I run the Divi Los Angeles meetup. Just wanted to come in and say hi and get some, see if there's anything new to learn about advanced custom fields.
Wonderful. Well, welcome. All right, let's run over to Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel. I've been using Divi for a few years now, and I'm a registered graphic designer and web designer. Yeah, so I want to learn a little bit more to help out my clients.
Wonderful. And where are you based out of, Rachel?
Oh, Hamilton, Ontario.
Well, wonderful. So you're nice and local to me. I'm out of Mississauga.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead, and I have iPhone. I'm not quite sure who that is, but if you want to unmute, if you're available.
Oh, sorry, it's me. My name is Priya.
Okay.
And yeah, so I'm a Java developer.
Okay.
I haven't used Divi as yet, but just out of curiosity, I've just joined the session to learn more about it.
Awesome. Well, welcome. And where are you based out of, sorry?
I'm based out of Toronto, Ontario.
Toronto. Wonderful. Welcome. Okay, let's go over to Imran. I hope I'm saying names right.
Hi.
Hi.
That's correct. Hi. I'm Imran. I'm from northern New Jersey, other side of a few guys. I've been using Divi for last couple of years.
Welcome. All right, and Jack.
Hi. I'm been reading quite a lot about Divi 5 and very impressed with some of the work that's being done there. So this tie-in with how to use ACF is of a keen interest.
Perfect. Welcome. Well, I know you did share a link in the group, so if you guys want to check it out, he was talking a little bit about Divi 5 and some things that Nick had mentioned that are coming out. So thank you for sharing that. And I know you're local as well. So welcome everybody. So I'm just going to go ahead and just jump right in. I'm going to start my screen share. And actually, I just want to go first before I do that. Actually, is anyone here already using advanced custom fields, like even just the smallest? Yes. Okay, I've got one nod. Don't hear anyone off mute, so it's okay. So let's just go ahead and jump in here. So you can just give me a thumbs up there if you can see the creative design agency on the screen here. Yes? All good? Okay. So this is literally just my playground for the Divi Toronto group. So nothing real consequence here. But basically, when we are using advanced custom fields, what it is just basically setting up fields. For this particular reason, what I would say is, if I'm building a website and I want my client to be able to edit the content without messing up my design, it's a great way for me to create fields for them to just add some text or upload a photo that will be populated on the front end where they don't have to go into the actual visual builder. Okay, a lot of different uses. Again, I'm going to keep this very, very basic. You guys can kind of, once you learn the basics, you can take this to a whole other level. But again, I know a lot of people were just overwhelmed with how it works. So we're literally going to do step-by-step basic information today. So when we are in the back end, this is the exact same website. Literally, we're just going into our plugins. This is a free plugin from the repository. So we can just go in, search for it. And it's just this one here. We're just going to install it now. And again, we're just dealing with the free version today. So this is not something that we're paying extra for. We're going to go ahead and install that. and activate. So here it is. It's just, you'll see it in the bottom left on your main menu. Okay.
All right.
And we're going to go ahead and click on the field group. So we're going to have to create something, but I just want to show you on the front end what we're going to do today for this first part. So let's say this is my main header on my home page. And I know that my client in the future is going to want to have some control over the site. They're going to want to, let's say, change out this photo or change out this text here. Okay. If I go in and enable the visual builder, it's already been built with Divi just for this example. We're not going to go and build it in the example on this particular one, but I'll show you another example later where we're actually going to be building and adding modules ourselves. Okay. So for this section here already exists. You can see this is just a text module. This image here, just so that you guys understand where I'm finding everything. Again, this is a pre-made layout through Divi. I didn't design this, but the background image is actually here on the column level. And so these are the things, what I'm going to do is rather than have this be within the module here, I'm going to attach that to an advanced custom field. Okay. So just to show you what we're going to do, we are going to make it so that the client can edit text and modify what's being shown on the front end. Okay, so I'm just going to exit out of the visual builder. I didn't make any changes. So back in the back end, what I'll do, and sorry, I just want to show you before I go ahead and start making things. I want to show you one. So right now, this is what you're going to see again, blank slate. So I'm just going to bring over another window just briefly. So we're going to be starting to add some different fields here, which can be populated with different data. Okay. So the first one that we're going to do is, let's call this as our little subheading here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new field group. And I want this to be for my home page. Okay. So I'm going to specify that these fields are only available on that one page. Okay, so I'm going to call it, you can call it whatever you want, but these is my home field. Okay, and I'm just going to minimize this here just so it's not confusing. So I'm going to jump down here to the settings. So this is going to determine these fields that I'm creating. Where are they going to appear? So in this particular example, I only want these fields to show on my home page. Okay, so if I'm clicking show this field group if, and I want to say if the page here is equal to the home page. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and save that real quick. So again, any fields that I create here are only going to be available on my home page. So here is where I'm going to create those fields. So this is the first one, again, automatically populated. I'm going to go ahead and edit. Again, I'm going to just be going over basics. I'm not going to be going into every single field, what everything does. This is just to give you a quick overview of how this all works, okay? So this first example, a field type, I want it to be text. Again, just to show you, I'm going to use, I want to be able to use this field to populate this entry right here. Okay, so I'm going to call this home subhead. Again, you can call it whatever you want. You want to make sure that they are unique. So when you go to the label, that's what you'll see in the back end. And this one here, this is kind of the ID. So we have to have no spaces, underscores and dashes are allowed. So this is where it has to be unique. Okay. I don't want to do default value or any other customizations for now. I just want to make that one. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Again, I'm just going to do one at a time just to show you because a lot of you haven't seen this before. Okay. So here's my home subhead. I created the field and it's only going to show on the home page. Okay. So here I am on the front end. I'm actually going to edit the page. So I'm not going into the visual builder. And you'll see down here, this is where the data is going to appear on your back end. Okay. So for me, I'm going to type my subhead and say, this is my new subhead. So that we know it's not the exact text that's what's on the front end, okay? I'm going to go ahead and update that. So we're going to go ahead and view the page, and we'll see nothing has changed because I haven't done anything here yet. What I've done is I've created a field in the back end and I've added text, and now I need to show the front end how to display it. So if I go ahead and enable the visual builder, and this is where the power of Divi really comes in because it has that built-in dynamic content available. So I'm going to go into my settings of this module. And again, I didn't do the design, so all of that's already in the back end. That work has already been done. All I want to do is change this text here. So I'm actually just going to delete that. And you'll see the icon here is for the use dynamic content. Okay. We're going to click that icon. And you'll see here, these are things you may or may not have been using before, but this is the native Divi dynamic content. At the very bottom is where you will be able to see any of the advanced custom fields that you've created that are available to you on this page. Okay, so this one here, the home subhead, is the one that I just created right now with you today. So we're going to go ahead and include that and then go ahead and hit the green check mark. Okay, so now we see here, this is my content, the home subhead. Save and save this page. And as you can see with Divi, it's already showing this is my new subhead. Okay, so if I go ahead and exit my visual builder and see it's now live on the site. And if my client goes in and edits the page, again, they're not going into the visual builder and they say, you know what, we want to change this to "You are my hero." And I don't want a period. I'm going to take that out. And they go ahead and update that. Again, they're in the back end. They're not touching the visual builder. They go back, view the page. And there's that dynamic content. You are my hero. They haven't touched the module. They haven't had to go into the visual builder, but they're still able to make edits to the live website without going into the visual builder. So that's just one of the very basic things that you can do. So what I'll show you now, because that was just basic text, is let's say I wanted to do the same thing using a picture. Okay, so I'm going to go back in advanced custom fields. Let's go back to my field groups. Okay, we're going to go into my home field. So again, these particular fields are only being shown on my home page. Okay, if I were to go to another page about us or contact us and go edit, you would not see those advanced custom fields that I'm building here because they're only available to you on the home page right now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add a second field. And this is where you change your field type here. And there's a lot of different things that you can choose from. Again, I'm not going to go into all of them today. You can play around with them at your own time. But let's just go ahead for this purpose here and choose an image. Okay. So we're going to call this home top image. And again, you can call them whatever you want, be specific, but again, they do need to be unique once you get to the actual field name itself. Okay. So when it comes to an image, you can either return the image array, the URL, or the image ID. And it really depends how you're using it on the front end. So in this particular case, I actually just want to keep it as the image array. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'm not changing anything else with conditional logic or anything else. Just go ahead and save that. So now I have two different fields. Okay. And this has been updated. So now if I go back into my home page, I'm going to edit. So now you'll see under here, I have a second field called home top image. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add an image. And again, these are all just different things from different layouts that I've added. So let's go ahead and add this one here. So select you. Okay. And update. So again, I've made the change in the back end, but I haven't connected it to the front end yet. So when we do view the page, nothing has changed, okay? But when I go and enable the visual builder here, we're going to edit the background image for the column. If you remember, I showed you that's where this particular image is found. So going into the second column, into the background, and we see that background image. If I want to be able to access that dynamic content, I'm just going to delete the one that's there. And then again, we see the dynamic content icon, and we're going to click that here. And again, this is where you're going to see that list of fields that are available to you. And I want to choose the home top image. And there it is. Quality is not the greatest, but you understand where I'm saying. So if I save this here, again, we see that change on the front end. And then let's say a month goes by and the client says, hey, I want to change the picture. And they're never going to remember it's in the background of the second column of this, you know, and we don't want them to be editing anything that we've done on the front end when it comes to our design. So again, if they just go in, edit the page, and they go in and they can remove this picture with the X, add a new picture. Let's see if I have something else we can put there. We'll just go ahead and put this one back. So they decided, you know what, we really liked the first one. We're going to put that back, update this page, view it on the front end. And again, that is the dynamic content where it is pointing back to the advanced custom field that we have created. So again, if I go into the back end here, I currently have 2 fields that are linking to the front end. So this is now done using advanced custom fields and the photo that I've gotten here so far. So I'm just going to pause here again because I am taking this down to more of a beginner level and you guys are new. How are you feeling about what I've shown you so far? Is that a little too over your head? Are you following along? Do you have any questions for me at this very point?
No, it's fine. I think it's perfectly easy.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. And thumbs up from Rachel. Okay, perfect. So I'm not going to go in and create every single field for you because that would just take too much time. And I want to be able to show you a few other things. So you understand where I'm going there, where I'm saying each of these different modules can be different field groups. Okay. Now, one thing I do want to show you, and I'm just going to kind of jump ahead here. We're going to go to an About Us section. And this could be, oh, sorry, team members section. So in this particular case, they're actually using the, I think it's the team member module. Let's go in here. So this is just your standard, person settings, okay? And what I want to show you is that even within these types of modules, now not all modules offer this, okay? But in this particular case, I could also create custom fields for my staff if I wanted to, and display 3 staff members at a time. Again, if I know that this is going to stay the same, this might be something you would want to do with services or, you know, any type of thing, right? Where you've got your photo and your descriptions. So what I'll show you here is team member 1, okay? So if you see here, we have the icon. Again, we can link that to a custom field. And because we're going to have multiple people, what we can do now is group our data together, okay? So I'm going to go exit out of here. I'm going to show you similar concept, but I'm going to create one for just person 1. Okay, so these fields that are going to correspond with this person here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go back to my field groups because this home fields were only shown on the home page. Okay, so remember when I said if I were to edit this page, let's discard, I didn't make any changes. As you can see, it's blank. There's no custom fields on this page because I have not given any, or I haven't assigned any to this page. Okay. So let's go back. So let's go ahead and add a new field group. And this is just going to be shown on that team members page. Okay, so I'm going to say team. And again, I'm going to just jump down to my settings. I like to do this first so I don't forget personally. But this page is going to be on my team members. So we're going to go ahead and I like to save that. I'm very big at saving my work, so you'll find I hit save a lot. Okay, so again, we're just going to go ahead and create a field label. So I'm going to say, and this is going to be text because it's going to be the person's, let's see, their person's name. So I'm going to say team one name. Now it's great because it already fills in the field name for me. But again, you have to make sure that this is unique. Okay, so again, we're going to just push this little arrow to hide that. And I'm going to add another field, still text. Okay, and this is going to be team one, and this is their role. Okay, so what their job description is. See that here. Okay. And again, I'm not using any of the other custom stuff. I'm doing very basic. And I'm going to do, let's do this editor. What this does is it actually pulls up the WordPress editor. And I'll show you that in a moment. So this is going to be team one description. And again, there's that ID that we need. Okay, I'm just going to save that. So I want to show you groups, which I did not do on purpose for this particular team member. Okay, so now if I go and edit this page, you'll see all three of these fields are here shown together. Okay, and this is what I mean by the WordPress editor and versus just a text field. Okay, so you'll see the difference. I actually have full control. I can go into the text editor, the visual editor. So those are the two differences. So let me go in and say, John Doe is a teacher, and we're going to throw some Ipsum over here, and I'm going to update that. Now, as you can see, each of these fields are listed one on top of each other with that slight border in between. And what I mean by you can do this in groups, so you can group like things together, I'll say. I'm going to show you now a group. Okay, so the layout is a group. And I'm going to call this team 2. Okay, so this is what my label is going to be. So when you see here team 1 name, we're now going to see team 2. And then I'm going to add a field within that group. Okay, so this is going to now be a team. This is my second person. Team 2 name. And I know I'm kind of going through this, but nobody really wants to watch me create this over and over again. But you understand. So team 2, the role. And let's do team 2, their image. Oh, sorry, we want that to be a picture. Okay. And I'm going to keep it at image array. Okay, let's go ahead and just save that. And refresh this page. And what you'll see now, so if you look here, team 1 border, team 1 role, so these fields are separate. Once we get down into this group, you'll see that they're actually all grouped together within this section called team 2. So that's just a better way kind of to organize your fields when you're having your clients come in. So let's go ahead and let's just populate some of this stuff here. So, and we're going to pull in Jane's picture here. Okay, so again, so these fields were created. I filled it into the back end, but nothing's happened on the front end yet. Okay, so if I go back, view the page and enable the visual builder. The cool thing here, let's go into person 2. This is my second one, right? And I can go down and say, okay, her image, I don't want that lady. I want to use my dynamic content. So person 2, image. It's going to find that image for me. And bam, there it is. And so I can do the same thing within a module. Multiple fields can be different fields. So one thing I want to show you, if I go down, I'm going to jump over to person number 1 to this description. So if I go into this module, go into the description, I'm going to delete this. Again, clicking on the dynamic content icon, go into team 1 description. What you'll see, because I did use that editor, is it's showing the HTML, which I don't want. So this is where you'd see that enable raw HTML, and you can select that to yes. Then anything that you've done within that editor, bold, italic, or whatever it might happen to be, this will actually display it appropriately on the front end. Okay. Now we're going to get into this before and after. I'll show you that a little bit later. Again, I'm just trying to take you through the basic steps first and foremost. You can do the same thing with URLs. You can do the same thing with each of these different fields as you create the different fields in the back end. Okay, so I'm just going to connect a couple more. Okay. Save this. So as you can see there, I've got John Doe as a teacher with the lorem ipsum that I added. Jane Doe, I didn't do her role. I think I created that field. And if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or just speak out as we go along. I know I'm trying to fly through, but at the same time, keep it simple that you guys can follow along. So again, if I save this and exit out of the visual builder, and the client decides down the road, you know what, Jane doesn't work for us anymore. We want to put somebody else in her shoes. We can go ahead, edit the page. And again, they're not touching the front end. They can go to team member number 2 and call her Jessica Smith, and she's a secretary. We're going to say that's not her photo. She is now back to this person. Update this on the back end. So there's your client making the change, not touching the visual builder. And there we go. Photos changed, Jessica Smith, and adding those details. So again, this is a great way for clients who you may be working with that you don't want them to touch your design work, but you still want them to have certain control over different pieces of the content. Okay. So again, any questions as we're just filling in pieces there?
Suzie, it's Julius. I have a quick question. It requires having the page builder enabled on pages. Turning it over to the client, you're still giving them access to the layout itself if they just edited with the Divi builder.
Yes.
Have you considered using the theme builder and assigning the layout to the home page or to that specific page home, and disabling the visual builder so that you still have the functionality of ACF,
Right.
but not giving the client access to the theme itself?
Personally, I have not.
Okay.
Yeah, my clients typically, I do their edits for them, but I know a
Okay.
lot of people use this feature and they basically say, like, my client's not going to know how to go into it, or if they go into it by their mistake, they're going to go back or whatever. But I also know, yes, some people will do that. They will use permissions to lock
Right.
users out of being able to touch certain things. So that is an option. I don't know how to do that, or couldn't show you someone how to do that right now, but I do know, yes, that is possible. Yeah.
See, reminded me of something, and I've been using Divi for quite a while. I forgot there's the whole permissions editor.
Yes,
you.
that's a whole other video topic, right? So one thing I want to show you, because when I was on one of these pages, I think it was this one, I was like, oh, how cool would it be if I could, use it with this counter module? And I don't believe that you can just with the Divi module itself. So I just want to remind you that as amazing as Divi is and being able to use dynamic content, I may be wrong, so don't quote me on this. But on this particular, On
Yeah.
this particular module, I just want to show you, on the project's title, I do have the dynamic content, but on the number, I do not. Okay, so there are some limitations with some things. So again, you know, you could find a new way to do that or however you want to do it. But I just want to make sure that we acknowledge the dynamic content is not everywhere. Okay, so just be aware of that. When you see that icon, again, this icon here, that's when you can pull from this field here. Okay. Okay.
If I may throw something out there,
Yeah.
you mentioned the wonderful Nelson Miller.
Yes.
I understand he has a plugin that actually adds that capability to those counter bar, count time modules. So as well as the video module.
Awesome. Okay, so again, one thing that I love about Divi is the amazing Divi community who has extensions or additions, and Nelson is a great resource for that. And again, if you guys are ever, I say stuck, but if you ever want to know, hey, can I do this? Google is your best friend when it comes to Divi. And also the Elegant Themes Divi support group on Facebook. If you guys are not members on there yet, you can use the search function on there if you want to find stuff. And then if you can't find it through there, then you are more than welcome to post a question. And the community within there is amazing with providing tips, corrections, how-tos, pointing you to tutorials or videos. Anyways, definitely use that resource because it is amazing. I use it all the time and I've been using Divi for years and I learn stuff new. The other thing, I like to read people's questions to learn what else can people do with Divi? What are they doing with Divi? Okay, so let's go ahead and exit out of here. Again, I'm just kind of showing you some different scenarios here. So one thing I also want to acknowledge is that right now we've just been using custom fields on pages. Okay, we can also take that to the next level and use that with, I'm going to jump over to, let's say, WooCommerce. Okay, so products. So I have a site, and no judging. We did some event rentals. And so I was using WooCommerce more in catalog mode where there was no pricing. And I'm just going to pull this up here in a moment. Okay, here we go. So if you can see the rentals page, and we had furniture rentals. And what I needed was dimensions and rental period. So if you look on this particular instance, this is just a WooCommerce product. I did use the theme builder to build it so that I could have a rent me button, which literally just takes them down, I think, to a form or email us. Anyways, but this section here is actually using dynamic content. So some of the products would be a 1-day rental. Some of them would be a 1-month rental or a 1-hour rental. And I wanted to be able to edit that based on the product itself. Also, the specs. WooCommerce is by no means, I am not an expert. I use it when I have to for my husband's client or husband's sites. I do not build e-commerce sites for clients because it's not my forte. However, in this particular case, I found advanced custom fields worked great. So again, where I'm saying, once you understand how advanced custom fields works, I feel the sky is the limit, and it really comes down to your creativity on how you end up using it or use cases. Once you start working with different clients or even your own business, depending on who you're building websites for, it's like, hey, how would I or how could I, once you understand how it works. So for this particular one, I'll just go into the dashboard just to show you advanced custom fields. It's the only thing that I used it for, so I called it products. And again, so I had a rental period. Let's go ahead and see, it was just text, okay? And specs, again, I just did text, okay? But if I were to go back to that product, I'm just going to show you this swing just because we were already there. And if I edit the product. Okay, so just a basic product, right? We have our title, we have our descriptions, everything's there. But here in this section is my custom fields. So I could change this and say it's a 2-day rental. Update. See, changes and view the product. And now you'll see the 2-day rental. So I could change these things based on whatever our needs were. So when we make those changes, so again, I'm not using the default WooCommerce products. So this is just a little side note, but you can use the theme builder to create your product pages, which is what I did. So if I go in here and edit that body, this is where I want to show you where I did the before text. So here I have 2 modules. This is for my advanced custom fields. Okay. So if I go into the rental period, you'll see it here. There it is. And what I've done is I've actually added some HTML into the before and after. So I needed to put a class on the paragraph because that's how I had done my styling. Again, might not be best practices. It worked for me. So I used a CSS class to style it exactly how I wanted it and did it with the before and after. So you'll see, I'm going to show you also in the specs one. So let me just go to the front end. Okay. So it's what's giving it this dark bold color, but I wanted the specifications, the actual size to be just normal text. Okay. So if I go into this second box, so my specs is my custom field. But if you go in before, I have closed my paragraph tag before it's inserting that custom text. Okay. So when you look at the front end, it's this here is within that before tag. And then it's actually displaying my custom text here. Whereas this custom field was within that paragraph tag. So I'm going to show you again in this particular one. So here's where I opened my paragraph and gave it that CSS class for that styling to make it bold and green or whatever. And then I actually closed the paragraph after. So hopefully that kind of makes sense where you can add some before and after, whether it's code, text, anything to adjust your field as you see fit or to add extra words in between. There are questions on that part? Does that make sense where I say with you're using the before and after? Any questions there? Nope. Perfect. Okay. So another thing I want to point out is that, so again, using Divi, we have that opportunity to go into a module and choose that icon and choose the advanced custom field. But let's go over here and say, there may be a time where I'm not able to use that module. So I'm just going to go in, enable the visual builder here. And let's say, and I'm making things up off the top of my head. So this is not going to be best use case scenario. Okay. But I'm going to add a row with text. And I'm going to say, John and Jessica, thank you for visiting our website. Okay. So here I want a statement and I want to use John Doe and I want to use Jessica Smith. Okay. So I already have John Doe and Jessica Smith set up as custom fields. We all agree. If I go back into team, I've got team name 1, which would be John. And if I go down here, I have team name 2, which would be Jessica. Okay. So there are certain times where you can't use the this here. Let's go. Okay, so typically I would do this here before, and I would say John want and then I want to put Jessica, but I can't use a second custom field within the same text box. Does that make sense? I can't have them both in there, okay? So instead of doing that, what I'm going to do is there's a short code. And I just kind of copied and pasted this somewhere else. So it's ACF field equals, and what I'll do is I'm going to throw this in the chat for you guys. I always forget what this is. Let me find my chat. Oh, goodness. I have not been checking the chat, so I apologize, people. It's one thing, I'm still new and forget to check it. So I'm going to put this in here. And if I missed anything important in the chat, please let me know. Otherwise, shout out to me. Okay. So in this particular case, ACF field equals, I'm going to just jump over here. And this is where the name comes in. So this here, this is what I want. Okay, so I'm copying this. I'm going to jump over here and paste it within here. And then I'm going to do this. I'm going to add the second one. So now, because this other one is within a group, I might have to put the group as well. But let's find out. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to copy the name, which is here. Oops. So thank you for coming to our website. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. Now, again, you can't see it in the back end because I'm not using the native Divi Visual Builder to populate that. But let's go ahead. If I exit out of the Visual Builder and see, this is where we cross fingers and say, it's going to work for me today. So John Doe and it's blank. So something's wrong with that one. So let's go back. But as you can see, it is pulling John Doe. And I know why it's not pulling the other one. It's because it is within a group. So if you looked at that thing I posted in the chat, it says name of the group underscore name of the field. So I actually, because it is within this field group, I need to have the field name of the group before the field itself. Okay, so it's called team name 2, but it's part of team 2. I apologize for all the underscores. So basically, this is the group name underscore the field name. Whoops, the field name, which is here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save that again because I'm not using the native Divi. It's not going to show me that in the Visual Builder. But if I save the page and exit the Visual Builder, we should see their names. So here we go. John Doe and Jessica Smith want to thank you for coming to our website. So now if I go and edit the page as the client and we say, okay, Jessica doesn't work for us anymore, or maybe John doesn't work for us. And now it's Julius. We'll use Julius today. I can't think of names off the top of my head.
It's the J.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and view that page. The client made the change. Here's the change here, but also it's populated here. So if you do have to use the short code because you can't use within the Divi module, there is that short code. So you can use that anywhere as well. Okay. So any questions on using that short code? Nope. Okay, perfect. So now things can get a little complicated, and I'm not going to jump into this into more detail, but one of the new features in advanced custom fields is post types. Okay. So if you look on the left-hand side here, you've got projects, right? And we know some people use this, some people don't, but if I go ahead and click on projects, I can create new projects, very similar to posts and pages, right? I can create a new project. I can give it a category. I can do all kinds of fun things. Okay, let's go ahead and add a new project just to see how this looks. Okay, so here I am in the back end, and I can have a title and I can use the Divi Builder. Okay, So again, looks very much like a page. Let's go back. If I wanted to, I didn't want to use projects. I wanted to have a collection of testimonials, which you've probably seen when you have testimonial plugins, but you could build this yourself with advanced custom fields. Or maybe I want to have a list of books. I'm working with an author and they want to have all of their books listed. I could create with advanced custom fields a new post type like projects and call it books. And then what I could do is create fields that only appear for those books. So I'm not going to go through it right now, but under advanced custom fields, post types, let's go back in here. I can add a new one. And it's going to take you through, you know, plural, books, singular, a book. And it's going to use those when it's talking about that particular post type throughout your site. And then your key, again, that's your ID. You want to make that unique, right? And you can create this here. So I'm not going to actually create it, but if you did, it would create another item here in your lists. But let's just go ahead and pretend books is projects just because it's already there. Okay, I want to show you an example. So if I go back into my field groups and I want to have a new field group that only gets shown to my projects post types. Okay, so that's where I'm going to say like project fields. And again, you can call this anything you want. And this is where we go, the post type. So before I was using page, now we're going to say the post type is equal to project. And if I had created a post type called books or testimonials or whatever it might be, it would appear within this list. Okay. So let's go ahead and just say save changes. And then we can add, let's kind of take a look here. A number maybe, right? So we can have a number, and this is going to be the book published date. Okay. Or year, let's say year. Trying to fly through this here for you guys, so we'll save that. I'm just going to do one just so you guys can understand what I'm saying. So if I go over to the projects now, and I'm going to add a new project or book, whatever it might be. And I'm going to call this my book one. But as you can see here, those advanced custom fields are now going to appear for any book or project, whatever custom post I'm in, that I start creating. So I can say this was published in 2022. And then what I can do, so now that I've got this created and I can have as many fields as I want, okay? The next step, what you would do is go into your Divi builder, create a new template, build a new template, and say, not all posts, but I want all projects. So if I had created a taxonomy, or sorry, a post type called books, underneath here, I would see this. So let's say I want all my projects. I'm going to create a template. I can create whatever I want using the visual builder. And I'm sorry, I'm just kind of flying through this because we're getting to the end of our time. But I can go in here, text. I'm going to delete this and say, my published years. Now I'm seeing these here, which I think is interesting. Within my projects, this is a great question that I don't have the answer to. Why is it showing me my home fields and my team fields? And I don't have an answer for you guys for that one. So I'm pondering that myself, but let's just jump ahead and say my projects field, book publish year, save. Okay. So I can style this however I want. It's going to be beautiful when I'm done with it, even though it looks like nothing right now. I'm going to close out of here. I just saved it. I'm going to save the changes here. Go back to my projects. it's very empty, but if I view this now, oh, look, there's my book here. So again, like I could have a featured image, I could have the author name, I could have an author photo, whatever. You can do whatever you want. You can create as many as these fields as you want within different field groups, from images, numbers. There's things you can do like conditional form, if this, then that, number ranges, like the sky's the limit. There are so many different things you can do with the free version, which is all I've been using here today. Of course, there's a lot more you can do with the pro version. There are a number of tutorials and videos and all this stuff for you to explore. And like I said, your creativity is really what's going to drive how you use the advanced custom fields. So I'm going to go ahead and just stop sharing right now, because I know I'm kind of flying through, kind of keeping it basic. Like I said, I really just wanted it to be an introduction. There's so much more you can do with that. So we showed creating advanced custom fields for a specific page, for a product, for if you're doing an e-commerce store. You can do the same thing for posts, custom post types like the projects that comes with Divi, or with the advanced custom fields, you can actually create your own posts, which in the past, you had to have a separate plugin to do that, or modify the code within your theme files. So they've really simplified it for us. And again, this is all done using that free advanced custom fields plugin. So now that you have a better understanding of the basics, for some of you that were overwhelmed last week with Nelson's presentation, feel free to rewatch it or go back and watch it now and see what he has done with dynamic content within Divi. And this advanced custom fields just takes it to the next level. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm definitely willing to answer questions if anyone has some. I am no expert by any means. I don't even use the pro version of the plugin, but I do have this basic understanding of how it works. So feel free to unmute if you would like to ask any questions.
I don't have any questions, but I'll note that the information was well presented and simple to follow. You're using it in a way that is common with the way I've seen it being used and the way I use it myself. But yeah, no, great presentation.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Julius. I appreciate you jumping on today. I know I don't think I've gone to one of yours yet, right? We haven't met before, have we?
Nope, this is the first time. Hello.
Hello, a fellow host. I like meeting fellow Divi hosts. So do you only do online for your meetups, or you virtual?
Ours are all virtual right now, yes.
Okay, so here's a quick plug-in, guys. There are Divi meetup groups all around the world. Some meet in person, some meet virtually. If you're looking for more groups to follow, go check out Julius in LA. It really helps because it's different time zones, different days of the week. So if you can't always come to Divi Toronto, one, we do video now and we do have the playbacks, but also there are other groups. So you can check out the different topics that they're talking about. We all talk about different things. Everyone's users are different. And we really try to cater to beginner to expert. So check out the topics, see what is of interest to you, and RSVP on the meetup groups. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick screenshot. I know Divi loves to see who comes to our meetup. So if anyone is interested in jumping on camera, you are more than welcome to. I'll give you a second to turn your camera back on. And then we'll do a little quick countdown for a 3, 2, 1 with the big cheese. So 3, 2, 1. And let me just make sure that it worked before I let you all go. Always the do, because I don't have my Photoshop up and running right now, but. And we are perfectly good. So thank you so much, everybody, for jumping on today. As I said, I will share the link for the playback for anyone who may have missed it. If you want to share this with anyone, there are a number of tutorials on how to walk you through using advanced custom fields. And again, once you start using it, you will see you can use it for so many amazing things. So good luck, have fun playing, and I will see you guys next month.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
All right.
Thank you,
thanks.
Suzie.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.